but like when you have God directing your path, you have a higher authority, not yourself, because most people consider themselves the highest authority. And so subjectively, as a flawed human, if I feel like I should be doing this and you disagree with me, there's no higher authority to say that I am wrong or anything, right? Yeah. So like when my wife and I have a disagreement, it's never, well, sometimes it's subjective, but if it gets too subjective, we at least have an objective higher authority at which we can say, hey, what does God say about this? What does the Bible say about this? And it'll become very clear, you know, who's in the wrong. We might both be in the wrong. We might be acting with pride or ego and, you know, whatever, right? We both might be being selfish. So it just kind of clarifies things. Whereas other marriages, when they don't have that, and you have two subjective people who have different beliefs, that's why there's a lot of drama. But I forgot what the leading question was to that.
I think, I don't remember. What was the question? I don't remember. It was basically...
Start with God and money.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to say. So like with you know, not serving two masters, if I am having a problem with, man, should I spend some extra? Because you can make an argument for anything you want, sure, right? So it's like, I have made this argument. I'm like, babe, she's like, you know, you seem like you're working a lot. You're on these calls at the house. You're not present with the kids. You're on your phone. And I'm like, well, babe, you know, we're starting this new thing. It's going to help a lot of people. And like, I got to do this for everyone. And so like on sometimes she's like, all right, you know, like as long as it's not like a ongoing thing that's going to just be like a new habit, right? If it's a season, you know, the business is struggling, we got to, you know, bear down. She understands that. But the moment things become like habitual, becomes the problem. And so like I have to lean on God for discernment of, man, I got to check my heart. Like, am I really doing this for the right reasons? You know, am I spending enough time with my kids and my wife, but am I also still serving beyond just my, because like there's the other side too, where it's like, hey, I'm not helping anyone else because I'm just only with my family. That's also not good.
Yep.
So it's like, it's tough.
Yeah. It's a tough balance to try to figure out where to land on that. But, you know, I'm always, it's one thing I'm always concerned and I'm always analyzing is where am I right now with when it becomes the ambition to build wealth and businesses.
Yep.
And then am I being a good husband and father? And it's hard to be good at both of those.
Very hard.
Yeah. So like trying to balance. And I think the answer, the book, The One Thing from Gary Keller and Jay Papasan, there's a great quote in there that I'll probably butcher here, but he basically says, there is no such thing as work-life balance as work-life balancing. It's a verb. So as long as we're constantly, you know, rebalancing all the time, like you're walking on a tightrope and you're left to right, like you're always balancing, you're okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's when you stop asking these questions.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like, I'll tell you at the end of 2022, right? We all went into turmoil in real estate. So my balance went way over in the scale of like, okay, I got to work and like, get some crap done. And I'm like, babe, this just is what it is.
Yeah. The enemies are at the gate. I got to go.
And she's like, I get it. Right. And then there are times where I've been like we just kill it. And I'm like, all right, I'm going into vacation mode. I'm chilling and, you know, whatever. Right. And then like the business side would be like, hey, bro, like you're kind of neglecting us. Like we need you to get back to center. And so, yeah, it's always this thing.
Yeah. Let's shift a little bit and talk about, still on the wealth topic and financial wealth. And this is something, again, I struggle with very much. Is how do you decide to spend money on something like a new house? Like you're buying a new house right now, right? And I have two houses, right?
Yep.
I got nice cars. I got nice stuff. How do you decide?
Except nice watch.
Except not just an average watch. just an Apple Watch. You know how much, do you know, actually, true story, I'm going to get back to the question. Do you know why I bought this?
Why?
Because it has a cellular built into it, so I don't have to take my phone. It was a how to be a better husband, father goal for me. So I can leave my phone at home and not take it in the house, and I have to communicate entirely off of this a lot of the times. Now, I'm not great at it.
So a lot of times you'll just ignore it. You're like, this ain't worth it.
Yeah, I'm like, if I got a text again and it got my words wrong, I'm like, I'll deal with it another time.
Yeah.
And so this actually was designed to take me away from screen time. Now, has it worked? On and off.
You've just traded screen time.
Now I just do two things, and I'm always walking around talking to my wrist. Anyway, that was a goal of mine. I said a couple years ago was how can I be off my screen time entirely? And so anyway, going back to the original question. So there's cool things that we buy, and then we talked about on your show earlier. If you know, if I can save someone's life for $1,000 in Africa who's dying of starvation, and I know $1,000 will save a child.
Yeah.
How do we as Christians, we can't obviously donate 100% of our money and give it away. And then there's an image, that sounds weird, but an image to keep up. There's like, we're on social media. It has stuff. So how do you balance all those things in terms of giving, in terms of charity, in terms of luxury and enjoyment?
Yeah, great question. So there's so many thoughts with this, but I think the quick answer is what I just said earlier about like when you have God helping give you discernment, it basically that just becomes part of it, right? Should I be living in this kind of house? Should I have this kind of car, right? And so it's going to be different for everyone, right? And like people on social media could look at lifestyle and be like, oh, well, dude, this guy we were talking my show, $50K a month, $80K a month, right?
Yep.
But what if you make $1 million a month?
Yeah.
You know, you're spending 5% of your income. Is that better than the person who spends 80, 90% of their income? Because that's what normal Americans do. They live off of 80 if they're lucky, right? So who's actually, you know, when you start looking at it from what the Bible says, like too, with the tithe, it's like the tithe is a percentage-based thing. It has no like hard absolute numbers, just 10% is 10%. So I think, you know, how much you spend definitely is correlated with that number on how much you're making. You know, if you're making $10 million a month, it doesn't matter, right? I'm not there yet, but if I start getting cool stuff because like I'm making such crazy money, it's not that I'm just only buying cool stuff. Now, I think the problem becomes if you're a Christian that you're making all this money, but you're just spending it all. That's a problem for sure. So I think the percentage of your income that you live off of is something that you should strive to lower as you build more wealth. Now you can do that by either keeping your living expenses the same and increasing your income, or, you know, you cut cost and whatever, right? You can go the Dave Ramsey approach, whatever your case is. So, you know, for me, I look at that as one thing. The other thing is, to your point, man, I mean, to me, it's like lifestyle is marketing. You know, you're marketing your lifestyle and everything else. And so if I'm doing cool stuff, it's like, it costs money, but will it actually bring in money and attract people who want that kind of lifestyle? The answer is probably